A young guy wakes up in a peculiar room with none concept of ways he were given there or who abducted him. He appears across the room locating best a shower and a toilet. Then he starts off evolved pounding at the wall asking to be let out. Unexpectedly he notices a reveal displaying the phrase proportions, so the fellow starts getting into exceptional commands that might likely open a door. However, not anything appears to paintings. The laptop asks him to proportion once more, so the guy confirms that command. Now he is recording, so he begins asking the digicam lots of questions to apprehend the situation, but no person answers. After using the toilet he discovers there may be no in it and the sink is not operating either, so he attempts the usage of the PC. When he writes water, the laptop says it equals 5. Now not information. The fellow lies down on the ground to wait. Unexpectedly a fart escapes him and it receives him some factors, allowing him to get the water he desired. After washing his face, the man realizes that as a published and actual people are watching him, so he begins to fart whilst transferring ridiculously around the room. However, it doesn't get him many points. He attempts some commands at the PC and manages to show off the lighting, so he sleeps on the floor. Some day later the laptop reminds him to percentage once more, so he is going on a rant about the state of affairs earlier than getting showered. A few points are available and so he rushes to start being silly again. Most effective to fall at the floor as he groans in pain. The points start going up a piece greater speedy. Alas, it isn't always a great deal, so whilst he orders something to eat, the most effective aspect, they ship him as a bowl of canine meals which appears in a hidden hatch within the wall. The fellow complains and tries to send it lower back, but none of his instructions work. Without a different preference, the man starts ingesting the food or even acts like a canine for the target market. Together with barking and panting, this brings in extra viewers and donations, which permits him to reserve some garments. However, it's far nevertheless not sufficient, and that they send him some girl underwear which he fashions for the screen. That night time the man is going to sleep at the ground while crying in despair. Day after today he starts off evolved, seeking to entertain the visitors. The great he can like doing stupid dances and pronouncing something comes to thoughts. Subsequently he gathers enough points to buy a t-shirt and an inflatable mattress. As days bypass, factors maintain piling up and he can purchase higher stuff like greater garments, shaving tools, a reflect respectable food, or even alcohol. He is supposed to be a vegetarian, but they best ship him meat and he has no preference however to devour it. In the long run he ends up loving it and the audience rewards him with more points. Sooner or later he drinks too much and attempts to smash the monitor with an empty bottle, causing his room to lose all strength. The guy tries new things like pulling the reveal inside the meal's hatch, but not anything actions even an inch. He receives so indignant that he punches the display screen only to harm his hand. Then despair takes over and he throws a tantrum begging to be released. Even as throwing the few matters he has, while he loses all energy he begins apologizing. However, it is not until he starts coughing that the strength comes returned all at once. The display screen suggests an older guy living inside the equal kind of room, even though he has manner extra stuff. This vintage man explains on occasion there are glitches within the gadget. However, once someone reaches a certain stage, they advantage get right of entry to the not unusual community, meaning the man can speak with the opposite humans, which can be stuck here as nicely. Nobody knows something approximately they're kidnappers, though they all woke here just like the main man did without understanding how or why. Now the principal guy has a person to keep him organization. In fact, the older man by no means shuts up, jumping from subject matter to topic without a lot notion, and his never give up rants get him plenty of points. The principal man is starting to get aggravated by him, but sooner or later he hears the older guy coughing pretty badly. He attempts to contact the person, and as he figures out what instructions to apply, he in the end unearths all of the other channels. There are all types of content material, cooking lessons, makeup guidelines, and a girl doing yoga who's so quiet that the principal guy cannot help looking at her for some time. After masses of trial and error, the guy subsequently connects with the older man, understanding every of them has a channel-wide variety. The primary man is 14 and the older guy is 73. 14 changes his mindset and befriends 73, talking to him frequently, sharing meals, learning magic from him, and singing collectively. Someday later 14 manages to get in touch with 28, the woman who does yoga at night time while the opposite bloggers are sound asleep. After admiring her splendor and her experience of peace, he sends her a donation the following morning. 14 starts off evolved shopping for nicer matters for his room at the same time as still talking to 73, who explains they cannot stay at one stage due to the fact then the visitors will stop loving them and sending donations they want to be continuously growing and improving their content material to keep the target audience ingesting out of the palm of their hand. From then on, 14 starts off evolved, trying tons of different things like stand-up comedy, exercise, cooking, making a song, and the magic hints he found out from 73. His target market keeps developing, and so do his factors, allowing him to buy even more things to use in his streams. He also practices yoga following 28's tutorials and tries to buy medication for 73, who's continuously coughing, but he makes a typo and ends up looking the room of 11, a lady who simply were given there and is currently showering. 11 freaks out while 14 appears on her display screen and accuses him of being the kidnapper. However, 14 speedy clarifies matters as soon as she is calmed down. 11 proposes they need to have cohabitation guidelines. At that moment, 73 joins the communication and 11 asks both men if a person ever tried to break out, so 14 talks about his attacking the reveal and how that behavior changed into punished. 11 thinks they must nonetheless examine every bit of information they have got and find a vulnerability inside the machine. However, 73 tells her she is just being condescending and yells lots. Before leaving the communique, a burdened 11 wonders why they have been chosen, in view that it is strange that an enterprise could provide housing and feeding to random strangers. 14 explains he wasn't each person critical and admits this lifestyles is higher than what he used to have because now he topics to someone someday later. 14 begins a little show with puppets manufactured from socks, which amuses 73 and receives him tons of donations. Someday 14 decides to present 11 a bath curtain. However, this angers her because she does not want to be pied. She desires to be independent. The next few days, 14 entertains the target market with drawing classes, but considering he's a horrible artist, he makes it like a comedy skit and affords himself as the version. These kind of loopy ideas get 14 lots of points, and he maintains making his room a higher location to stay in. However, 11 cannot stand any of this and snaps, pronouncing they have to begin a revolution. This triggers an issue the various three friends that does not stop till 73 is coughing too much to keep going. That night, 73 begins coughing greater severely than ordinary and chokes on it, causing him to have a small seizure and fall in opposition to the display. Now his body is so susceptible that he can't move. 14 begs his target audience to assist, even as 11 tries to discover a useful menu at the computer. Handiest to by accident press the wrong button. 73's room starts off evolved, heating up, and soon flames are coming out of the walls, burning every single object, and 73 himself, his pals, can best watch as 73 dies a painful demise before his digital camera is going off. After spending some time in silence to grieve, 14 contacts 11 and tells her no longer guilty herself. She refuses to speak with him, so 14 tries. One among his puppets suggests making her announce that she wants to get inebriated. Both 14 and 11 order plenty of alcohol and begin drinking whilst pretending they're dancing with every other. They share the ultimate element they recall doing before they were abducted, and their dancing gets more playful together. With the removal of clothing, they realize they're into each other and decide to expose off more pores and skin as they use their fingers to attain the peak of delight. As soon as they are accomplished, they realize this hasn't helped with their sadness, and 14 admits he can nonetheless listen 73's voice. He starts ranting, approximately the scenario similar to 73 used to do, and consents with 11's antique plan. All the bloggers need to come back collectively and discover a vulnerability inside the device. Considering 73's loss of life proves mistakes do manifest, then 14 sits in front of the digicam and offers a heartful speech, earning him more points, which he says he does not need. He explains how a whole lot 73 intended to him and begs the alternative bloggers to begin searching out any sort of element that may be used as a clue to escape. Suddenly 28 contacts 14, saying his speech was cool and comparing it to her philosophical talks, approximately a person's internal circle. 11 receives irritated due to the fact what they are doing isn't supposed to be metaphorical and calls her out, so 28 decides to depart the communique. In a while, 14 and 11 test the other channels and are satisfied to peer. A few bloggers have joined their plan. As an instance, a woman has found a way to make it rain in her room. Later that night, whilst 28 is about to start her yoga stream, 14 comes to a decision to talk along with her. 28 says 11 is too angry and bad and that attitude will power them. Loopy, she believes in keeping matters high quality and tells 14 that he is famous because he makes humans smile, which is incredibly precious considering the kingdom of state-of-the-art society. Then they start doing yoga together and their circulation causes and annoy 11 to wake up in advance than typical. Sometime later, 14 checks on 11, who won't stop looking the other channels. As time passes, increasingly more humans comply with their plan and feature observed a few cool things like controlling the ventilation system or maybe Shifting a wall. 11 is keen to create a map of the region and produce it down, but 14 is not so enthusiastic anymore. 28 made him suppose that what he does is important, so he tells 11 that a few humans are happy here and that they should not feed them. Anger not taking him severely, Ele comes to a decision to cut her hair as a sign of riot. Later that nighttime, 28 starts off evolved her yoga flow, and an Anno at 11 reminds her they're presupposed to have cohabitation rules. She considers night streams rude because they keep others wide awake. A controversy ensues and 28 accuses 11 of treating the opposite bloggers like her puppets. 14 makes them prevent, and 11 factors out that 28 isn't his friend she is after seeing some other new man arrive. 14 begins seeing 11's factor once more and makes a stream asking all of the other bloggers to send him one factor. A glitch takes place and his points start going up exceptionally speedy, causing 28 to call him poisonous and a thief. A livid 11 makes it rain inside 28's room, and 28 says 11 wishes to experience the warmth in their light. This triggers the heat on the walls and soon 11 is burning down like 73 did earlier. Then the display goes off. A devastated 14 falls to his knees and has a breakdown when all at once a door opens behind him. He rushes to get out, but at that second he sees his display turning on once more, so he comes back to tell the alternative bloggers this proves they could achieve things working together. However, the door closes and now 14 has to start performing once more. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can watch more movies like this. Thanks for looking.